howls through Blackwood Pines, dropping the ambient temperature to 20 degrees below zero. In the game Until Dawn, this isolation is a death sentence. It freezes the characters, slows their reaction times, and heightens their paranoia. But tonight, the protagonist isn't a group of panicked teenagers. It's Bruce Wayne, specifically the Arkham Knight iteration, equipped with the version 8.03 Batsuit. We're going to simulate exactly how the Dark Knight handles the horror movie tropes of Blackwood Mountain. He steps off the cable car, the snow crunching under boots reinforced with carbon fiber. He doesn't shiver. He touches the side of his cowl, and the world shifts into the blue and orange overlay of detective mode. The hunt begins. The Psycho and the Setup, Chapters 1 through 4. The first act, Until Dawn, is a classic slasher setup. You have jump scares, mysterious creaks, and a masked killer known as the Psycho stalking the lodge, which kills rational decision-making. But Batman isn't normal. As he breaches the Washington Lodge, his cowl's sensors map the structural integrity of the building. In the game, a slamming door is a terrifying supernatural event. To Batman, detective mode highlights the hydraulic actuators on the door hinges and the hidden speakers in the walls. The haunting is immediately flagged as a mechanical fabrication. He spots the rigged floorboards and the tripwires for the jump scares before he even steps into the room. The mystery of the Psycho lasts approximately 5 minutes. Batman hears the distinct heartbeat of an individual waiting in the closet. 120 beats per minute, elevated, anticipatory. Batman doesn't open the door. He grapples to the rafters, waiting in the shadows. When Josh steps out, confused by the silence, Batman executes an inverted takedown. It's a sub-second engagement. He disarms the suspect and zip ties him before Josh can even trigger his first saw blade trap. Let's break down the science of why this works. Josh's entire plan relies on the startle response. This is a defensive reaction to sudden stimuli, causing muscles to tense and the heart rate to spike. Batman has spent years exposing himself to Dr. Crane's fear toxin, a chemical weapon designed to induce absolute biological terror. He has conditioned his parasympathetic nervous system to suppress the startle reflex entirely. A guy in a mask jumping out of a closet isn't scary to a man who fights clay monsters and crocodile men. It's tactically boring. Batman interrogates Josh in the kitchen. The prank is over before midnight. The butterfly effect system from the game, where small choices lead to disaster, is short-circuited because Batman solves the root problem immediately. But this is where the simulation shifts gears. While Batman is securing Josh, the motion sensors he deployed along the perimeter network trip. It's not a human signature. The thermal profile is running hot, burning calories at an impossible rate, and moving at 40 miles per hour. A hand ago, the sanatorium Wendigo has breached the guest cabin. Batman leaves Josh secured and steps out into the snow. The genre just shifted from a psychological thriller to a monster movie. Survival tier, rank S. Against the human threat, Arkham Batman faces zero risk. The traps are amateur, psychological warfare is ineffective against his mental conditioning, and the killer is an untrained civilian. If the game ended here, it would be a very short night. But the scream echoing from the sanatorium forces Batman to leave the safety of the lodge and venture into the cold. The Sanatorium, Chapters 5 through 7. The wind howls as Batman grapples across the chasm to the Blackwood Sanatorium. It is a derelict ruin, filled with the rusting history of the 1952 minor tragedy. He enters through a broken roof window. Landing in the chapel, his cowl picks up multiple heat signatures in the psychiatric wing below. They aren't human. They are emaciated, elongated, and their skin temperature is running unnaturally hot. He drops into the confinement ward to investigate. A minor Wendigo, still wearing the rotting tatters of 1950s work gear, screeches at the intrusion. Batman attempts a standard takedown, a martial arts strike aimed at the nerve cluster in the shoulder to incapacitate the target. Here is where physics gets in the way, but Wendigo physiology is fundamentally different. The curse calcifies the skin, turning it into a biological armor harder than Kevlar or concrete. Batman's fist connects, but the kinetic energy doesn't transfer into damage. It bounces off rock-hard dermis. The creature doesn't even flinch. It swipes back. Let's analyze the counterstrike. A Wendigo possesses superhuman strength, capable of decapitating a human with a single pull. The claw connects with Batman's chest plate. The V-803 suit is made of a tri-weave titanium-coated fiber mesh. It's designed to stop bullets and knife slashes. The claws don't penetrate the mesh, so Batman isn't disemboweled like a typical Until Dawn character would be. However, the laws of momentum still apply. The force of the blow launches a 240-pound vigilante across the room, smashing him into a rusted gurney. He's not bleeding, but he definitely has cracked ribs. The suit's liquid armor layer absorbs the impact, but the internal bruising is severe. Batman realizes instantly he cannot trade blows with these things. This isn't a brawl, it's a demolition job. He adapts immediately. This is the beatdown mechanic from the games, but modified for survival. He drops a smoke pellet to break the line of sight and grapples to the rafters. He notices something critical during the disengagement. When he stops moving, the creature stops tracking him. The science breakdown here is fascinating. The Wendigo vision is based entirely on movement, like a hyper-developed form of motion parallax, Doppler sensitivity, similar to the mythologized version of attacks. But unlike a dinosaur, these things are fast. Batman activates his cowl's forensic scanner. He realizes the creature is blind to stationary objects. He utilizes the silent predator protocol. He slows his breathing. Through years of meditation and biofeedback training, Batman can voluntarily lower his heart rate to near comatose levels, around 8 beats per minute. To the Wendigo's thermal motion vision, the Dark Knight effectively ceases to exist. He becomes part of the cold architecture. Now that he's invisible, he goes on the offensive. Physical strikes are out, so he switches to ballistics. He deploys the explosive gel, spraying the structural pillars of the ward. He lures the pack of Wendigos into the center of the room using a sonic batarang. As they converge on the noise, he detonates the gel. The explosion doesn't kill them. They are immortal to everything but fire. But the collapsing ceiling buries them under tons of concrete and steel. It buys him time. Survival tier, rank A. The sanatorium is dangerous, but the environment favors the bat. The high ceilings and gargoyles allow him to abuse his grapnel gun, keeping him out of reach of the melee-focused monsters. He survives the encounter with moderate injuries, mostly blunt force trauma, but he learns the two most important rules of the night. They are blind to stillness, and they cannot be beaten with fists. He realizes the sanatorium isn't the source of the threat, it's just a holding cell. The real danger lies deeper. He exits through the collapsing tunnels, descending into the winding, claustrophobic darkness of the mines. The Mines and the Stranger, chapters 8 and 9.
Man, Batman is the greatest detective of all time.
The descent into the mines changes the tactical geometry entirely. In the mines, he's forced into a two-dimensional fight. The tunnels are cramped, unstable, and pitch black. This is where the game introduces the Stranger, Jack Fiddler. In the original story, this is a tense standoff where teenagers scream and panic. For Batman, it's an intelligence-gathering opportunity. Batman intercepts the Stranger before the man can even level his weapon. He doesn't disarm him aggressively. Instead, Detective Mode analyzes the weapon in real time. He notes the pressurized tanks, the pilot light, and the scorched earth around them. The conclusion is instant. The creatures are vulnerable to extreme heat. Standard ballistics fail, but thermal shock destroys the integrity of their armor. This changes the loadout strategy immediately. However, he does carry a remote electrical charge and smoke pellets. He quickly modifies his batarangs, coating them in a makeshift accelerant scavenged from the stranger supplies, creating makeshift incendiary rounds. But the prep time is over. The Handigo, the Alpha Wendigo that was once Hannah Washington, ambushes him, but instead of running and screaming, Batman utilizes the line launcher. As the mine shafts collapse and the floor gives way to grinding ore crushers, Batman fires the zipline device. The gadget creates a tightrope across the abyss, allowing him to traverse gaps that even the Wendigo struggles to navigate without momentum. Unlike the game, where the strangers decapitated due to a split-second delay, Batman's incendiary cover fire allows them both to retreat to the elevator. Let's look at the physics of this chase. When the Wendigo charges at full speed, it cannot corner effectively. It slams into walls, losing momentum. Batman, using the grapnel boost and line launcher, can corner instantly. However, the chase leads to a dead end, the elevator shaft. This forces the most iconic mechanic of Until Dawn, the Don't Move segment. The creature is inches away. Its breath fogs the cowl's lenses. In the game, you have to hold your controller perfectly still. In our simulation, this is a test of Batman's biofeedback control. A normal human under this stress would have a heart rate of 180 beats per minute. Involuntary microtremors caused by adrenaline would give him away. The Wendigo sees...
Could y'all be able to do that? With a Wendigo right here. Just right here.
Movement. No matter how small, Batman engages a technique similar to the Tibetan monk practice of Tumo, but weaponized. He drops his heart rate to 8 beats per minute. He stands perfectly still, a statue in the dark. The creature screams, detecting the body heat but seeing no motion. Confused by the contradiction, it's a staring contest with death, and Batman doesn't blink. Survival tier, rank B. This is the lowest survival rating of the night, dropping to a B. Why? Because tactical gadgets are useless at point-blank range. If the line launcher had jammed or if the tunnel collapsed a second earlier, the physical superiority of the Wendigo would have ended the run. The confined space neutralizes Batman's stealth and mobility advantages, turning the encounter into a coin flip based on reaction time. He survives, but for the first time tonight, it was a close call. He ascends the elevator, leaving the mines behind for the final showdown at the Lodge. The finale. Dawn at the Lodge. The sun is still hours away as Batman breaches the Washington Lodge for the final stand. The climax of Until Dawn is traditionally a chaotic scramble where the survivors must stand perfectly still while the creatures tear the room apart. For the Dark Knight, this isn't a scramble. It's a calculated trap. He knows their weakness, fire, and he understands their behavior, territorial aggression. The windows shatter, sending glass flying across the expensive floorboards. The Wendigos, led by the Alpha, the creature that was once Hannah Washington, pour into the main hall. In the game, this is where Sam screams or Mike fires a shotgun uselessly at indestructible skin. Batman stands in the center of the room, perfectly calm. He deploys a sonic batarang, but he doesn't throw it directly at them. He lodges it into the far corner, modulating the frequency to mimic the distressed shriek of a rival Wendigo. This exploits a critical flaw in their biology. Wendigos are apex hunters, but they are also violently territorial. The Alpha hears the challenge and attacks the source of the noise, colliding with 2 minor Wendigos that followed her in. While the monsters tear at each other, distracted by the infighting, Batman executes the gas strategy. Mike's plan in the original game was build a gas bulb, flip a light switch, effectively blowing himself up in hopes of killing the monsters. Batman is a master engineer and chemist. He doesn't need a suicide pact. He uses the remote claw to rupture the gas main, flooding the room with propane. However, he calculates the stoichiometric ratio to ensure a deflagration rather than a detonation that would level the mountain. He grapples to the chandelier, positioning himself high above the rising gas layer. As Hannah finishes off the lesser Wendigos, she looks up. She sees the bat, but it's too late. Batman drops a single incendiary pellet. The room erupts. Here, the no-kill rule is technically tested. Batman doesn't kill people, but his detective vision confirms these aren't people. They are reanimated biological puppets driven by a spirit curse. Their heart rates are 0. They are clinically dead. He isn't killing them. He is decommissioning them. As the Alpha screeches in the consuming flames, Batman exits through the roof vent, his cape acting as a glider to ride the thermal updraft of the explosion away from the burning lodge. His tri-weave titanium armor absorbs the ambient heat, keeping him safe as the lodge collapses into ash below him. Survival tier, rank S. With preparation and knowledge of the fire weakness, the lodge becomes a killing box. The environment that terrified the teenagers becomes a weapon for the vigilante. He doesn't just survive, he cleans house. So the final verdict is clear. Batman survives the night with a 100% success rate. The difference lies entirely in the approach to fear. The butterfly effect that usually dooms the cast is neutralized because Batman refuses to play the game's rules. Where the teenagers panic, Batman analyzes. Where they run for their lives, he hunts the predator. He turns a survival horror game into a tactical action thriller, dismantling the supernatural threat before the sun even rises. Which horror game universe should the Dark Knight dismantle next? Leave a comment with your suggestion, and remember to like and subscribe for more tactical breakdowns.
Shout out to Nerd, man. Shout out to Nerd. Yeah, man. So look, I think that this was a dope video. Shout out to Nerd for making this. I think that when it comes to Batman, bro, it's just the way he's able to analyze the battlefield and really take over everything. I feel like it would be an extremely hard time for anyone to really kill him, especially like someone with a mindless creature, you know what I'm saying? Especially once he figures out your weakness, you're pretty much done for. So that's kind of what this was, in my opinion. But overall, man, this was a great video. Shout out to Nerd. And hopefully put some more superheroes in the Until Dawn space and we can see that. But we love the Batman videos over there, man. Keep them going. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel about this video in the comments below. Share this video with your family and go watch some of the other greatness we have on the channel. With all that being said, you know you're going to see me again. So like always, peace.